Okay, first of all, I have to apologize for the audio quality. I'm driving my truck, got some background noise. Using my phone as a camera, clipped to the dash, going over bridges, over bumps. But anyway, 7 or 8 years ago, I've been fascinated with Sasquatch since I was a young kid. I always believed they existed because I knew there had to be something to the stories, to the legends, the indigenous people of North America. But anyway, 7 or 8 years ago, I was making posts on Craigslist asking people to tell me their story if they ever seen anything strange in the woods or the sky for that matter. So I'd have that post up for a day or two, maybe 3 if I was lucky. And it would always get flagged for deletion. I wonder who was behind that. I wouldn't doubt that the idiots at Craigslist were forced by some branch of our government to shut down anybody who wanted to talk about that. So every time, for a few years, I'd make a post, flag for deletion. It just got frustrated and pissed me off. It's like, come on, what the fuck? Sorry for my language, but I get really pissed about this. I'm sick of our government intervening in our lives, thinking they're doing us a favor, trying to keep a secret. Makes me sick. So anyway, I kind of gave up. Just what they wanted. And I should have known better. I should have known better. I should have said screw you and just kept doing it. I did for a while, but I got tired of reposting every few days. And I got better things to do. So another 3-4 years went by, and then I started listening to Steve on the Facts by How to Hunt on YouTube. And then I started listening to Wes on Sasquatch Chronicles on YouTube. I should have started a YouTube channel after Craigslist kept shutting me down. I just didn't take the time to do it. Really didn't have any stories to tell. But over the years, whenever I was chatting with somebody, either a friend or just an acquaintance, I'd ask them, hey, what do you think of Sasquatch? 95% of the time, they'd say, oh, I don't know, it's just stories people making up. I even asked a friend of mine who's been in the DNR for quite a while, Minnesota, out west. He's from Minnesota. Not too long ago, I asked him, hey Scott, what do you think of Sasquatch? Oh, it's just a mythical creature. So obviously he's either been told to cover it up, or he's honestly ignorant of the subject. And Scott's a nice guy. pretty humble. I'm guessing he's just ignorant on the subject. I don't know. But then again, if he was told by his superiors to keep something quiet, he'd probably do it, just because he's that kind of guy. So anyway, I started a YouTube channel. And if you want to share your story with me, I'd love to share it with the world. Minnesota Sasquatch Trucker at Gmail. I drive truck for a living. I did welding inspection for 13 years. Since like 2012 till just almost a year ago maybe. And anyway, so I just, I don't want to show my ugly mug on video, so I'll show the bumpy roads on video and the beautiful signs that block our view. But if it wasn't for signs, I tell you, I get lost with GPS and signs. So anyway, I guess the government has to watch out for us somehow on these roads. So I've had a YouTube channel for many, many years. And you'll see it did a lot of drone footage. Really cool drone footage. Beautiful scenery. A lot of them around Minnesota. The one from the Badlands is just amazing. You see part of the Badlands that you wouldn't even see on foot. So anyway, I'll be sharing a few stories of peoples that I had talked to, that I asked what they thought about Bigfoot. Like I said, 95% of them really didn't have anything to say. The other 5% told me their story. And you'd be surprised how many people will share with you their encounter if you ask them solemnly and humbly, and ask them in a way that they know you're genuinely interested and not trying to trap them into something or whatever. So this is my very first video. A cop pulls out on the highway and everybody freaks out. That one guy's following a little too close. I'd pull him over if I was him. Anyway, so this beautiful scenery. This is upstate New York, where there's has been tons, and will be more tons of Sasquatch encounters and sightings. So as time goes by, like I said, I'll share the stories of the people I've talked to that have heard the stories directly from them. One was a hunter in Denver. Another guy was driving down the road in Kentucky. A couple others were friend girls of mine in Minnesota who told me things what were going on, and they had no idea it was a Sasquatch. They just clueless. They just kind of blew it off because there was no explanation. So who knows, maybe someday cruising down the road I'll film a Sasquatch run across the road or something. But then usually when you get something like that good, the skeptics come forward and say, oh, you faked it. It's a guy in a monkey suit. Yeah, like, right, I have time for that bullshit. I don't have the money for that either. Who was it, Les Stroud or somebody? Wanted to see how easy it was to fake a good Sasquatch video with a suit and everything. It cost him over $1,000, over $1,000 just to fake a stupid 10-second Bigfoot sighting. For what? Not gonna make him famous. Nobody's ever gotten famous. Because the skeptics come forward and say, oh, it was a hoax. It was a bear. And that's another thing that gets me. People know the difference. People know what a bear looks like. Come on, we grew up with a teddy bear in our beds. Got nice round little ears on top of its head and a snout. And when it walks on two legs, it kind of stumbles and fumbles along, only for a little while, and then drops down on all fours. So these people that try to say when somebody saw something run across the road on two legs, people say, oh, it was a bear. Well, bears don't bound across a highway in 2 or 3 steps on its hind legs. And it doesn't have arms down to its knees. And it doesn't have flowing hair, it has fur. And it's got little round ears on top of its head and a snout. Not human looking face. So, people know the difference between a human and a bear. Come on. Whether it's 8 foot tall, hairy human, you know, or a hairless ape like us humans. That's what we are, as hairless apes, basically. So, anyway, yeah, sorry, I gotta yell on this video just for my microphone on my phone to pick this up decently anyway. Some of my words still don't get picked up and pronounced correctly by the microphone. But you get what you get for free. So anyway, what else do I want to say? I've never seen one. I've done a lot of things in the woods. A lot of camping, a lot of hiking. Never had any occurrences or encounters like rock throwing or screaming or howling or walking around the tent at night or charging through the brush like a freight train. Most people who have had a face-to-face encounter, it changes them for the rest of their life. A lot of them end up with psychological problems because they've been told their whole life, oh, it's just a mythical creature. People make it up to scare the kids out of the woods, keep them out of the woods. They saw a bear. It wasn't a Sasquatch. They don't exist. So, anyway, I think if I would ever had an encounter, I'd be a different person. I personally don't have an urge to see one. For about a year there, me and my buddy Sean, we were going out in the woods looking for them. Not really for them, but structures and stuff that they build. I was at the iron ore pits Crosby, Minnesota, flying my drone quite a few times. It went over the hill because of all the iron in the ground, I believe. I lost signal to it. And I was using an off-brand app in the settings, which I didn't set. It said if transmission is lost, for it to land. And that's just what it did. It landed out in the middle of nowhere. So I went out 3 different times looking for it. The 3rd time I found it. Walked right up on it on this an old overgrown trail. And in this area, it's kind of cut off from the rest of the area because of a big man-made dike or hill. I had to climb on all 4s and pull myself up on little trees to get up to the top of it. Probably 150, 200 feet to the top. And when I was wandering around in this area, I found an area where a bunch of 4 or 5 inch thick saplings were snapped off about 4 feet high. And all the grass was flattened down. Looked like a football team was partying or something. And I found two teepee structures. And also a giant X made with trees that were put there from somewhere else. I investigated and checked it out. Well, I got goosebumps. I got spooked, man. I got the hell out of there. But I found my drone. $400 Mavic Mini. Takes great video. You'll see him. I got a bunch of videos on this channel. But anyway, yeah. My next video, I'll share a couple stories from people I know that shared their story with me. And a couple of them, I even went out to the area and investigated myself and found structures. And one girl even told me the owners of the land would hear screaming in the woods over the years and thought it was kids partying, and when they'd drive out back to go chase these kids out, they'd never see or find anybody. No smoldering fire, nothing. So I'm sure they were pretty perplexed. They probably still don't know what it is. So like I said, I'm not interested in seeing one myself, because the stories that Steve tells and that Wes tell, thousands and thousands of emails, basically testimonies of people, and even if one person out of those thousands is telling the truth, what gives? What's going on? But people are too busy nowadays. They have better things to do. They've got families and jobs and hobbies and friends. They got yards to take care of. They've got boats to fish out of, snowmobiles to ride, motorcycles to cruise on, hot rods to drive. They got better things to do than to sit down and think up a story. Now, the thing about these stories is, none of these people know each other. They've never met each other, and they never will. And all these things that are happening to these people repeats itself over and over and over again. These people can't make this shit up. And the next guy is making something up, and he tells the same thing. And the next guy, and the next guy. These thousands of people don't know each other. They didn't have a big Sasquatch live party and plan, okay, here's what we're going to say when we make up this story and send it in. We're all going to say the thing crashed through the woods like a freight train and howled and screamed. Or it threw a great big rock in the river. Or it was throwing pebbles at my tent. Or throwing pebbles at me while I was in my deer stand. And these are just the encounters where the people haven't really even seen anything. Then you've got the people who have seen these things. Some as close as 10 feet away. Holy crap. And then you've got these big macho guys who A-type hunters that hunted all their lives, who will sit there and admit to strangers that they wet their pants like a little girl. Or a little boy, sorry ladies. Like a little person. They pissed themselves, and some of them even crapped their pants. Now, if these people are willing to tell people that they did this, do you think they'd make that up and then have people think they pissed their pants and to tease them or make fun of them? So, yeah, I mean, you know, if I pissed my pants and I seen something, I'd probably be pretty reluctant to tell anybody about it. But these people do. They're straightforward and honest, hardworking Americans, telling their story, telling the truth. And they're not getting famous from telling these stories. They're not making any money. In fact, over the years, many people who have gotten involved in this Sasquatch business came forward and admitted the truth. Their wives or husbands shunned them, divorced their ass. Their kids probably think the guy's a wacko. They lose friends, they lose jobs. Because of what? For telling the truth. So, be that as it may, that's what keeps a lot of people from telling the truth. Because of what has happened to other people because of this subject. So I think I've said enough for now. I'm anxious to get these stories shared. And screw the government. They make our lives more difficult, more than anything. I know exactly what Biden would say if you asked him about Sasquatch. Because he's a freaking puppet. He's been briefed on this shit. Admit to nothing. That's how it goes. So anyway, wow, that's some beautiful scenery. You see the big valley to the right. Wow. Wish you could see it firsthand with your own eyes. Some of you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, oh, just a quick note. There's a lot of jerkies on the road. I don't know how in the hell they ever got their driver's license. Guess it all depends on how you treat the guy who's giving you your test. Haha. I passed mine the old-fashioned way. So anyway, yeah, you can see by the signs here where I'm at. If you're familiar with the area, if not, you can always Google it. Beautiful country. Maybe I'll buy some land out here. But I don't know if I want Sasquatch as a neighbor. They can be difficult to get along with sometimes. And when you quit giving them apples and leaving them treats, they start slapping your house and tearing your dog in half and stuff like that. So you don't want to get involved in any of that stuff. Just leave them be. Let them do their thing. That's the way it's been, and that's the way it should stay. Unless you find one that can learn English, I think they understand our language. They do have a language, by the way. People have heard them actually having conversations in the woods. Well, there's one friend of mine, she would hear voices in the woods, but she could never make out what they were saying. She was really confused. So, anyway, that's enough for now. I'm going to get an email made with Minnesota Sasquatch Trucker at Gmail.